There you can see the nice finish with a little bit of mirror to it that the fly cutter has produced for the spot mill area at the end of the frame casting where the inboard cylinder head and the cylinder will attach. In order to get that nice finish, I had to use a newly sharpened bit and a high speed. Some of my earlier cuts, the bit wasn't that sharp and the finish was a little bit rough. But for the final cuts, I used a new bit and I increased the speed and it produced a nice finish. In the next series of steps, we'll mate the inboard cylinder head to the frame. And the drawings call for us to drill and ream an accurate 375 thousandths inch diameter hole, 3/8 of an inch accurately, a hole through the frame casting that will receive the back of the inboard cylinder head and the packing gland from the other side. Now we're going to spot drill the hole that will receive the inboard cylinder head. And there we have a good starting hole. Now I will enlarge the spot with a larger center drill. And there we have our starting hole. Next I'm going to drill through the frame with a 5/16 inch bit. And we're through. Did that bit come through? Nice. So there we have the 5/16 inch hole through the frame, and we're going through a final dimension of 3/8 accurately, 375 thousandths. Now I'm going to drill through with a 23/64 inch diameter bit. 23/64 is a 64th smaller than 3/8 of an inch and will leave us a little bit of metal to ream with the reamer to get to an accurate .375 diameter hole. Here we go with the 23/64 inch bit. And there we're through with the 23/64 bit. Now using an accurate 3/8 inch diameter, .375 diameter, checking reamer, I'm going to ream the hole through the frame to an accurate .375 inch diameter. Here we have some cutting oil. And we'll run the reamer at a slow speed. And the reamer just takes out a little bit to make it accurate. We run it very slowly and we feed it slowly. And the reamer is through, and we'll slowly retract it. And then we have an accurately reamed 0.375 inch diameter hole. Here we'll see how the reamed hole fits the boss on the inboard cylinder head. And it seems to fit quite nicely. So in a little bit we'll have to go ahead with locating where to drill the holes to mate that inboard cylinder head to the frame and drill the holes. Here we've located where to drill cylinder mounting hole number 1 in the frame using the locating pin. And we did that by moving straight back from that center hole until the locating pin fit and didn't pick up the part. Now we did that by going this direction only, no motion in this direction, because that mounting hole, as does the one across from it here, wants to be lined up with that hole in the center. Here we're spot drilling cylinder mounting hole number 1 in the frame. And there we have a starting hole for drilling cylinder mounting hole number 1 in the frame. Now I'm going to drill cylinder mounting hole number 1 in the frame with a number 29 drill. And there we've drilled mounting hole number 1. Here I've placed a spare number 29 drill in mounting hole number 1 to hold the alignment, and I'm locating where to drill mounting hole number 2. Now we're spot drilling mounting hole number 2 in the frame. And there we have a good starting spot for hole number 2. Now we're going to drill mounting hole number 2 with the number 29 bit. And we're through with mounting hole number 2. Now using 2 number 29 drills for alignment, I've located where to drill mounting hole number 3 using my locating pin. Spot drilling cylinder mounting hole number 3 in the frame. And there we have a starting spot for mounting hole number 3. Drilling mounting hole number 3 with the number 29 bit. And there we've drilled mounting hole number 3. Here I've located where to drill cylinder mounting hole number 4 in the frame using two number 29 bits and a spare locating pin to hold alignment. Spot drilling cylinder mounting hole number 4 in the frame. And there we've spot drilled mounting hole number 4. Now we're drilling mounting hole number 4 with the number 29 bit. And there we've drilled cylinder mounting hole number 4 in the frame casting. Here I've located where to drill mounting hole number 5, using two number 29 drills and 2 pins to hold alignment. Spot drilling cylinder mounting hole number 5 in the frame. And there we've spot drilled mounting hole number 5. Drilling mounting hole number 5. And there we've drilled mounting hole number 5. Here we've located where to drill cylinder mounting hole number 6 in the frame, using two number 29 drills and 2 pins to hold alignment. Spot drilling mounting hole number 6. And there we've spot drilled mounting hole number 6. Drilling cylinder mounting hole number 6 in the frame with a number 29 bit. And there we've drilled all 6 cylinder mounting holes in the frame. Now that we've drilled all the cylinder mounting holes in the engine frame, let's see how everything fits. Here goes the inboard cylinder head back in place for a little bit. And I put some 540 threaded studs in those holes that we threaded in the cylinder on the inboard end. And let's just put it in place and see if it fits. So it goes like that. Looks like it fits. As usual, the locating pin makes it so that you're right in the center of those mounting holes. There's no binding or anything there. Before we can continue work on the engine frame, we have to make the piston rod packing gland, which is fitted to the frame. In order to machine that on the lathe, we'll have to attach a helper stub. We'll solder on that stub. I'm set up here to solder a helper stub to the piston rod packing gland casting. Now I've mounted the helper stub in the lathe chuck and the casting in the tailstock chuck. And using the tailstock feed, we can move the parts together and everything is kept in alignment. The first step of the soldering is to put some flux on the end of the helper stub. And it's a used helper stub that I've soldered to before, so there's a little bit of solder on there already. Next, using the tailstock feed, press the parts together to print the flux onto the casting. Now separate them again. Now we'll light the torch and heat the rod. And we'll heat it until we can add some solder to the end. And now I'm adding solder, I'm tinning that part, and that's already got a good deal of solder on it. So we'll keep heating it and we'll press the parts together. And heat it some more until the solder flows onto the casting. And take away the torch and let it cool. And we have the accuracy of the alignment of the lathe and the tailstock given to us automatically simply by that procedure. So we have a well-centered helper stub soldered onto the casting. See? It's attached now. Nice, straight, true, well-centered. Easy to do. The drawings call for us to turn the hub of the packing gland casting to 0.370 inch diameter. So let's do that now. Okay, we have something round to measure to tell us where we're starting now. And I'm measuring 436 right now. So that's 66 thousandths over. So I'll take another cut of 10 thousandths depth. Take another 20 thousandths off it. And I'm going to take another cut of 5 thousandths depth and then measure it again. So I'll take another 10 thousandths off the diameter and then check it. Okay, let's see what it measures now. And I'm measuring 375. So I've got 5 thousandths more to go and I'm at that diameter. So I'll take the final 5 thousandths cut off now. So I'll take 2.5 thousandths on the dial, and that will take me down to 370. Okay, let's see what it measures now. And I'm measuring 375. So I've got 5 thousandths more to go and I'm at that diameter. So I'll take the final 5 thousandths cut off now. So I'll take 2.5 thousandths on the dial, and that will take me down to 370. And there we've turned the hub of the packing gland casting to the required diameter. Here we go with center drilling the packing gland casting. And there we have our well-centered starting hole. Now I'm going to drill through the casting with a 7/32 inch bit. And we've drilled through with a 7/32 inch bit. Next I'm going to drill through the casting with a 15/64 inch bit. And there we've drilled through with a 15/64 bit. Now I'm going to ream the hole through the casting to an accurate .250 inch diameter using a 1/4 inch chucking reamer. And there we are. I reached the bottom of the hole, so I'll back it off. And there we have our accurate .250 inch 1/4 inch hole through the packing gland. Here I've trimmed the length of the hub to the required 1/4 inch. I've lined up the center of the milling machine chuck with the center of the hole through the packing gland using my conical tipped edge finder that looks and feels like one piece when it's all lined up. The drawings call for us to drill the mounting holes in the wings of the packing gland 5/16 of an inch from the center of the packing gland. So having located the center with my conical edge finder, I can just crank off that 312 thousandths or 5/16 of an inch using my milling machine dial. So all I have to do is lift it up and turn the crank. One full turn is 100, 200, 300, and then go to 12.5. And now I'm located at a place that's 5/16 of an inch from the center of the hole through the casting. A quick check with a piece of 3/16 rod in the mill chuck shows that our hole will be well centered on the wing of the casting. Now I'm going to spot drill the first mounting hole. And there we've spot drilled our first mounting hole. Now I'm going to drill through with a 9/64 inch bit. And there we've drilled the first mounting hole. Now I need to go 5/8 of an inch in the other direction to get to where the other mounting hole should be. Now in order to do that, I'm going to lock up the milling machine's table with the gib locks and take out the slack from the dial in the other direction, because there is some, and then re-zero the dial. You can't change the direction of the milling machine table without correcting for slack in the system by re-zeroing the dial for the new direction. And again, all you do is you lock up the table, turn the dial in the new direction until it stops, and then re-zero at that place. Now I'm going to locate where to drill the second mounting hole in the packing gland by going 5/8 of an inch or 625 thousandths in our new direction. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 turns of the 0 to 100 dial plus 25 more divisions on the dial. And we'll take a little check on that to see if it looks well centered and well located. And it does, checking with a 3/16 rod. So we'll drill our second mounting hole in that location. Here we're spot drilling mounting hole number 2. And there we've spot drilled mounting hole number 2. Now I'm going to drill through with a 9/64 inch bit. And there we've drilled mounting hole number 2 in the packing gland. This is what the packing gland looks like before I separate it from its helper stub and polish off the excess solder. Our next step will be to mate the packing gland to the frame. And we'll have to work from the opposite side from where it will mount. It will mount back here, but we can't get back there. So we'll locate our holes and drill and tap from this side, and we better be straight and true to make sure we'll fit from the other side. First, I've aligned the hole through the center of the engine frame with the center of the milling machine collet using the conical tipped edge finder that looks and feels like one piece when it's all lined up. The drawings call for us to drill the packing gland mounting holes 5/16 of an inch from the center of the hole through the frame. And 5/16 of an inch is 312 thousandths, so we can just crank that off. 3 turns of the 0 to 100 dial, and then 12 more. So here we go with 100, 200, 300, and 10, 12 thousandths. And we'll just do a sanity check on that using a locating pin and the part in a moment. And the locating pin agrees with the position we've found for drilling packing gland mounting hole number 1. Here we go with spot drilling packing gland mounting hole number 1 in the frame. And there we've spot drilled packing gland mounting hole number 1. Now I'm going to drill through with a number 38 drill. And we're through. You can see the drill going through there. And there we've drilled packing gland mounting hole number 1 through the frame. I put a little thread cutting oil on the tap, and now we're going to tap a 540 thread into the first mounting hole. So here we go, tapping mounting hole number 1. And back it up about a quarter or half turn and go forward again. And I'll advance my tapping pin, which is the axle for the tap handle, a little bit. And I'll tap that right through. And I think I'm going to back the tap off a little bit here, clear it. And a little more thread cutting oil. And we'll go back to tapping that hole. It's a deep one. And I think we're through there. I think we've finished tapping the first mounting hole. I'll just run that through. A little more. Give another drop of oil. And go even a little more farther, a little forward. And then just back off the tap. And we'll have completed mounting hole number 1 for the packing gland. Okay, and there we've completed mounting hole number 1 for the packing gland. The second mounting hole for the packing gland is 5/8 of an inch from the first. And in order to get there, we have to move the milling machine table that carries the part 5/8 of an inch forward with the dials, or 625 thousandths. And we are changing direction here. We have just moved the part back to get to this location. And now we're going to move the part forward. So when you change the direction of travel of the milling machine table, you have to re-zero the dial to take up the slack. So what you do is you first lock up the table so it can't move at all in that direction, and then you turn the dial that little bit that it will allow you to turn that slack or slop. And now you've taken up the slack and you set your zero there, and then you can crank off the 625 thousandths on the dial. So I'll do that right now. So I'm going to start going the other way, and I'll reset my zero, and then I'll unlock the table, and I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 25 divisions more. And I'll lock it up again. And we should be there. We can test that position with the locating pin. And it looks pretty good. We've done that accurately. So that's where we'll drill mounting hole number 2 for the packing gland. Now we're going to spot drill packing gland mounting hole number 2. And there we've spot drilled mounting hole number 2. Now I'm going to drill through with the number 38 drill, and later I'll tap that hole with a 540 tap. And there we've drilled through the number 38 drill. Now I'm going to thread the hole with a 540 tap, and I put a little cutting oil on the tap. So here we go, the threading. You back it off once in a while to break the chip. And you can see how the tapping pin that I use acts as an axle to keep the tap handle lined up straight, so we won't have a cockeyed thread and break the tap perhaps. Keeps everything nice and straight and lined up. Now we're cutting thread again. It feels like we're through. So I'll just run a little bit more and back off the tap. And there we've threaded the second mounting hole for the packing gland. Here we can see the packing gland assembled where it's supposed to be, and we can see that it's free and not binding, and that the holes are properly positioned for its mounting. Here we see that the frame is coming along very nicely, but before we can continue with it, we need to make the bearing caps. Go right there and will become part of the bearings. And the castings have a little bit of a flash or a rough edge down here. So to clean that up, I rubbed the part on a file to make it have a clean surface, which would be the start of where we would rest it on in the milling machine for the first cleanup cut across what would be a top here. So next we'll need to make the bearing caps.